Okay, we are live here on the Get Foxy show with the wonderful Cheryl Guidry. Cheryl, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Get Foxy show with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, I am excited to have you here because this is a topic that folks don't really hear a whole lot about, dating over 50. So
Mhm.
how in the world did you end up starting to speak on this topic and start coaching on this topic?
Well, I actually was divorced and started dating and actually got remarried after 50. And I started to hear women talk about the same things that I experienced and more. With me being a nurse practitioner, I hear that a lot. And so it was like a passion, and I kept hearing people tell me, you need to talk about that, you need to talk about that. So I sat on it for about 5 years, and finally I couldn't stand it anymore, so here I am.
Now, when people say you need to talk about that, what kinds of things were they asking you to talk about?
They're nervous about getting back into reentering the dating scene. You have women that have been divorced, you have women that have lost a spouse, and dating is just not like it was when we were 20, 30 years old. It's a whole different ball game. And a lot of women are trying to navigate through that. Uh, and some just say, well, I'm just not going to date. I just won't date because it's just too much out there. And so this was my opportunity to tell them, yes, you can date at any age, 50, 60, 70, 80, and have a successful, healthy relationship. So that's my goal, to let women know as long as they want to date, they can date and they can have an authentic relationship.
What are some of the differences now between then and now that are making things so difficult to be dating once you're past 50?
Well, at 50, you experience life. You've had maybe some difficult relationships. You may have been in some uh, abusive relationships. The women have been. Some people have the experience of just picking the wrong partner over and over and over again. And when you're younger, you can handle that better. But it's something about being over 50 when you're kind of wondering, do you still have it? Am I still foxy? Am I still sassy? Am I, you know, how will I approach someone, dating after 50? And will I catch something? There's a big thing about the STDs in this age group now. Over the last 10 years, STDs have even increased in our age group because women no longer have to think about birth control, but now they still have to worry about STDs. And years ago, you didn't have to worry about that as much because you were in a monogamous relationship that lasted years on end. And now women get divorces. They don't stay in marriages they're not happy in. And so the likelihood of them being in a new relationship or two in their lifetime is very high.
That's a little bit
So
spooky.
it is, but it doesn't have to be. That's why I give them the tools to get them through that spooky part, so it's not so spooky. There are tips to getting them through very easily.
That is excellent. Now, you mentioned feeling foxy, and when you're over 50, and you're trying to kind of regain that. Well, first off, I guess I should ask you, what does being foxy mean to you, Cheryl?
Okay. Well, foxy to me means confidence. For me, feeling good about myself physically, uh, being happy mentally, spiritually, just a combination of all three. Combination of all three.
So then
Just
when
feeling
you've got
good about you.
clients who are looking to take those three parts and reclaim those, how do you help them do that?
We start at step one, and we start at where they're at right now. I find out what they feel about themselves at this point. Tell me where you're at right now. Where do you feel you are at this point? What parts of you do you feel are the best parts of you? What parts of you do you want to improve on? So you have to start on the person before they can add another person to the relationship. So you have to be in love with yourself first, and then get in love, because you won't attract someone in a healthy relationship if you're in an unhealthy place. You attract where you're at. So if I'm in an unhealthy space, I'm going to attract that. If I'm happy, I'm confident, I'm sassy, foxy, I'm going to attract someone that's attracted to that.
I am right there with you 100%. I had a guest on, oh shoot, now I'm spacing the episode number. Her name is Joanna Shakti, and she's a relationship coach. And that's one of the things that she taught as well, was that you had to develop a relationship with yourself and really learn to love yourself, who you are authentically, warts and all, and learning how to forgive yourself for the mistakes that you may have made in the past, but really just embrace yourself and know, you know what, I'm okay just how I am right now. And
Exactly.
once you start feeling that, then yeah, it's so much easier to start relating with others.
Exactly. You attract what you're looking, you attract the same thing that you're putting out. And that's why I always tell ladies, you have the 3 T's. Your truth. Your truth is your life story. Your standards from being 50 years plus years old. You have things that your standards as to where you want to be in your life, what kind of relationship you want. So you have your truth. You have your terms, so you can date on the terms that you want. Is this a casual relationship? Are you looking for a long-term relationship? That way you don't waste your time with someone who's not wanting a long-term relationship. They just want a casual relationship. And then in your time, be it 30 days, they have these rules, 90-day rules, 30-day rules, 1-year rule. There's no rule as far as how long you have to take to get to know a new partner. And so it's on your term, your truth, and your time.
Speaking of long-term relationships, you state on your website that you are married to the man of your dreams.
I am.
And you are a grandmother.
I
and
am.
You have several grandbabies. You
I
just
do.
had a new grandbaby, correct?
Brand new one. Yes, I do. The first girl out of 7.
7 grandkids. Now, how do you maintain your foxiness when you've got 7 grandkids?
Well, the grandkids don't live close, so we have to travel to them. So that keeps us busy, keeps us traveling like we like to do. My husband is a very comical person. He keeps me laughing. I always tell women, find someone who can make you laugh. And I laugh all day, every day with him. I laugh. Even in those times when I'm mad at him, he makes me laugh. And so I don't get to stay mad but a couple of seconds because he makes me laugh. So that's the kind of person you need in your life, someone who enhances you, and makes life light. Someone you can get through your ups and downs with. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect, but we are perfect together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny how when we can start relating to ourselves and being forgiving with ourselves, and you get in a relationship with somebody else, then you can start learning how to forgive them when, you start butting heads and arguing, stepping on toes, because boy, it definitely happens in relationships. I know my poor wife, God bless her for her patience. But life is good when you're able to have that relationship with yourself and with others. Um, I'm curious about the women that you've served. I'm
Okay,
sure you've had some really just kind of outstanding transformations that you've
I
seen.
have.
Can you tell us a couple of those stories?
Okay, I have two. I have one young lady who was abandoned by her husband, and she was devastated. You know, she was in what she thought was a long-term relationship, and after that, she was just really broken and wanted to be in a new relationship again, but felt that because she always chose the wrong type of relationships, that she would not be successful. You know, she's a very optimistic person, but in that area, she felt like she just wasn't making the right choices. And so we actually, over several months, talked about, you know, some of the red flags that she would kind of overlook when she was started dating again. And within, it wasn't even a good 6 months, and she would date someone, and she already knew what her truth was, you know, so she went in knowing what her standards were going to be. And she would call me. She says, okay, is this a red flag? And I was like, yes, you picked it out, you know. And she would go back and stay in a relationship a little longer and hear something different. This is a red flag. Okay, I'm done with this one, you know. So she was able to find the red flags, and that she always had this overlooked. You know, they were there. I believe they were there all the time, but she was not hearing them. You know, we all have intuition, and it's up to you to listen. Always, if your intuition tells you something's not what it is, it's not what it is. And she's at a great space right now, and she hasn't found the man of her dreams yet, but she's in a very good space, and I'm very confident that she will pretty soon.
Excellent. Now, when you say red flags, what exactly do you mean by a red flag?
Red flags, as in someone who she's wanting to get married again. She's wanting to get married, and she kept finding guys that were wanting one night stands or casual relationships, no attachments, seeking someone who was almost like a mother figure, someone to cook and clean for them, and they're not even dating. You know, it's like, where is that coming from? So yeah, she, you know, and at our age, one of the problems that she said also, the men that are in her age group were wanting younger women. And that is a struggle for women that are over 50, you know, because a lot of times men will date women because of the space that they're in, a younger woman that will make them feel better. But there are very many men out there that do prefer women of their own age. And so I tell her, you just haven't found the right one. And when he finds you, you won't have to look for him. He will find you. Um, and you'll see what we've been talking about all this time, because it will happen. Because she's got all the sassiness. She's foxy. She looks good. She's got the attitude. She's a very funny person. Uh, I'm very enthusiastic that she will find someone pretty soon.
I get the feeling she probably will. Holding that space and that intention, and like you said, what you put out is what you will bring in.
That's
And
it.
so
That
I'm
is it.
I'm excited for her.
Now, I had another young lady. I say young lady, but she was much older. She was in her 70s. Her story was more the end of when I was talking about the STDs that are um, climbing in this age group. She was a widower, And she started dating another man that was a widow. And she had known him for years, knew both the husband and the wife, and they became friends years later. And like many older people in her age group, they became intimate because they're not worried about getting married. They just want a companion, and they become intimate. And within a month, she had 3 STDs. And she was devastated. She had never been with anyone since she had been married, had never had an STD in her life. And she's like, I'll wait till I'm 75, and now I have to worry about getting an STD. It's like, as long as you have breath in your body and you're sexually active, you have to worry about STDs. And so, yes. And so we got her through the physical part, but emotionally she was broken, because she lost faith in the dating. She thought she knew this person. And so I took her through the steps of what to do, of how to make sure that you're in a relationship that you want to be in, and one that's on your standards. And she's doing much better.
And what are those steps, Cheryl?
Step one, take your time. There's too many times that we listen to this, okay, you can date someone 30 days and you know all about them. You don't. There's certain things, questions you need to ask about what their goals are for the relationship. Do they have any other partners? Are they sexually active with any other women than you? Are they going to be? Do you want to get married? Are you, all those questions. And then the next step is just to make sure that you have a physical. Check yourself out first. Have a physical and make sure that you're okay. And do not, by any chance, if you're going to be in a casual relationship, which I don't recommend, make sure that you are checking labs. You get a STD screen, I get an STD screen, and I want to see the paperwork. I don't want to hear that you tell me that you had a screen. And what were you screened for? Because everyone says, oh, I got screened for everything. What's everything? So make sure that you're screened. And then, ask those questions about condom use. Even though you were screened, ask about condom use. What do you feel about us using condoms? Oh, I never use condoms. Okay, so that's a red flag there. If you've never used condoms before, I want you to use a condom. And if you're not going to use condoms in this relationship, then we're not going to have a relationship. So even at this age group, you have to take care of yourself. And I say, take care of your partner too, because you don't know who your partner's been with before you, and they don't know where you've been before them, and if you're seeking long-term relationship, and let's say you're not going to have sex until you get married again, then he needs to know that. And you need to talk about that before you get invested with your heart in a relationship. Because a lot of times once the woman's heart gets invested, then the red flags, it's hard to, now you want to ignore the red flags that you see. Oh, maybe he'll change, maybe he'll change later on. No, you clean up your house before you get to that point, and then you don't have to worry about having to go back and say, okay, now it's over, after you've already invested your heart into the relationship.
Those are some solid steps. And man, you talk about getting real. Holy cow. Those are some heavy conversations, but doggone, that is stuff that if you are going to be in a solid relationship, yeah, that's big stuff that you have to cover in order to take care of you and your partner. I totally agree with you 100% there, Cheryl.
And that's not something that women are used to having to talk about. Think about it. 40 years ago, women that are this age now, they didn't have to talk about that before. They got married, assumed their husbands were monogamous, and they went on. They didn't talk about sex. They had sex, they didn't talk about it. And now you want me to talk about it and ask questions too, so you have to teach them how to ask those questions to where they feel comfortable.
I'll bet that's a bit of a challenge. I would think that it would take some
Takes time.
playful curiosity and
Role play.
some time role playing.
Role play. Role play. I'm your partner. Tell me what you want to ask. Ask me the questions.
And that's something that
And
you do a lot with your clients, is you will actually role
yeah,
play this out with them so that they get comfortable in this.
yes, yes. We laugh, and it's it's very non-formal. So we have to talk about very serious topics. So you don't want it to be formal. You want it to be, serious where it needs to be, but you want them to be comfortable.
I would think with, something that can be that devastating in your life. Yeah, you probably would want to be a little bit more lighthearted about things.
Right, right, right.
So just to switch it up a little bit, Cheryl, I'm curious as to who embodies Foxy in your world right now.
Any woman. I'm mostly get excited when I see someone like in their 70s and they have it all together, and they're strutting their stuff and they're very outgoing and confident. That's Foxy to me, and I always tell them, I want to be there when I get your age, because that's Foxy. Because you think about it, we have all these years, we're in the second century of our life, and we have so much wisdom from years past, and you bring all that to your 70s and you still have that confidence. That's a wonderful thing, I think. And I love, like, Tina Turner. She's like an idol. I think Tina has it going on, okay? Because what is she, 75 years old? And she still is Foxy, And so Tina and any woman that is able to hold their own as they age is a Foxy woman to me.
Amen to that. I was actually just reading a book by Dr. Zanna Hackett, who uses she's created this personality assessment tool called the
Mhm.
Ultimate Life Tool. But in it, she was talking about kind of the arc or the time frame of our lives. And after 50, that, yeah, she was saying this is kind of where you really become um, a sage. Essentially, you've gone through all of that life experience, especially the whole turmoil that happens from about 34 to 43, where
Mhm.
you've got the kids, you're dealing with your aging parents, you're dealing with your little kids, you're possibly looking at relationships get rocky and possible divorce, and all these challenges that happen, and you go through those, you weather those, you learn the lessons from living. And then once you get
Mhm.
past that, then yeah, you're kind of in that Zen sort of place where you can start sharing the wisdom that you have and the lessons that you've learned. So I will bet that you've been learning a lot from your clients.
I've learned a lot of lessons just in my own life, and yes, from clients too. Yeah, because I got my divorce in the 40s, in my 40s, in the midst of nurse practitioner school and in the midst of sending kids off to college, the worst time ever, and but I learned so much from that time, and I had a lot of anger around that. I swore I'd never get married again, and as I got into this good relationship, it's like, oh, I had to go through that so I could appreciate this awesome man I have here now, And so that was just a journey that I had to go through in my life to get me where I am today. And so I look back now on those times as more fondly, because it made me grow. I grew a lot. And so, like I said, I'm ecstatic. And I think every woman needs to be in this type of relationship. I want it for everybody, so that's my push. If you want it, I want to help you get it.
And how can people find you? If they want it, how can they find you so they can get it?
They can go to www.safedatingover50.com and send me an email. I have blogs on there. If they're in women's group and they don't want to do it by themselves, they want to do it within the bounds of a group of women. We love learning together. We have fun. They can send requests there also.
Okay. So you do personal coaching, group coaching, and then are you speaking anywhere?
I have spoken once. I'm getting more on the speaking circuit now. Right now, I'm working on getting ready for my retreats. That's my long term, is to have wellness retreats. And so by next year, so I'm actually working on that right now, getting all those tools together to get that going by next year.
Oh, that's fantastic. And wellness retreat, what do you think that'll entail?
It'll entail the same safe dating principles, part of it, but also I was saying that women need to enjoy um, themselves and learn to love themselves. So we'll have some yoga. We're going to have some a photographer come out and take pictures, because we need to feel good about ourselves, no matter what age you are, what size you are. We have too many stipulations on how we should look. And so we'll have those that want to do like walking, hikes. We'll have a lot of activities. And if you want to, you don't have to do anything. We will teach you how to journal, because I think journal is a big part of learning who you are. That was one of the things that was introduced to me when I was going through a difficult time. And when I go back and read my journal, it's like, wow, you've come a long way, baby, So journaling is a great piece for women to learn who they are. And so we'll be incorporating some of that into the retreat also. A fun time.
That sounds fantastic. And you'll have details about that on your website once you kind of get things worked out?
Exactly.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I will include the link to your website, which I believe is just datingover50.com, correct?
Safedatingover50.com.
Safedatingover50.com. We'll include the link in the show notes. You just go over to the Get Foxy show. We'll find Cheryl's episode. It'll all be right there for you. And that way, when you've got questions or Cheryl has that posted up, and actually, if you want to share that with me when you have that ready, I'll blast that out on the Get Foxy show Facebook page so that people know you have that available for them. Because, God, that actually sounds
okay.
I wouldn't mind going through something like that.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited.
Well,
and I think it will be a great thing, because I've met so many people since I opened up my closed group on Facebook. I'm meeting so many people from all over the United States that are sending me little emails and stuff. And so it lets me know that I'm going in the right direction. As women, we all have some of the same concerns. So.
Well, I definitely think you are doing the world a service, Cheryl. Thank you so much. We're bumping up on time. So for now, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give for our listeners out there about how to stay foxy?
Fall in love with yourself again. Fall in love. Do those things that make you feel great, even if you're a mom with small children. Put time in your day for you, because if you put time in your space for you, then you're going to feel wonderful. Your family's going to feel wonderful, because you're going to be happy. Like they say, if mama not happy, nobody not happy.
Amen.
So take time for you. That's my biggest advice, is to take time for yourself. Love yourself.
Well, Cheryl, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I so very much appreciate you and what you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me.